Let's talk a little bit about spiritual happiness. What is the difference between normal happiness and the happiness that we can get out of spirituality? What I mean by spirituality is the same that I mentioned in another small talk that I did few days ago. What I mean by spirituality is that when we are looking inwards and finding the truth about ourselves, how our mind works and how our thoughts are working, from finding out about this inner self, how our inwards is working, there's a lot of happiness coming out of it. It's because that when we are losing the importance of the thoughts and when we start finding out about how the mind works, then we start realizing that the unhappiness that we had, the unsatisfaction that we had is because of, not because of external things, it's because of the misconceptions that we had, the misbeliefs that we had in our minds, because of our wrong views. When we start realizing about these wrong views, when we start losing these views, we lose the heaviness of this thoughts and the views, and that leads to a happiness. That is what I mean by spiritual happiness. So in normal life, what we call by happiness is when we gain something. When we get something we like, we say we are happy. But there's two sides of the story. It's dual. When we are seeing the happiness with our mind, it's like only when we get something that we like, we are happy. But at the same time, when we don't get what we like, then we are very unhappy. So that is not the real happiness. That is not the happiness that we can rely on. The real happiness that you can rely on is the spiritual happiness. That is where that happiness you get by losing things, by letting go, by letting go of the views or the letting go of the attachments that we have for our thoughts and for the views, for the thought patterns that we have practiced all our lives from childhood up to now. So the normal happiness that we call, as I said before, it's by when everything goes according to our wishes, everything is working according to our plan, we get happy. But the reality of life is that there's very little possibility that we get what we like in our lives. We know that. So we wish for a lot of things. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it's not working. So if we just rely on this unreliable the way of the nature, I mean it's all the time changing, it doesn't happen according to our wishes, we know from our experience up to now. So if we just rely on that, then we are doomed for being more unhappy than being happy. So more unsatisfactory situations than satisfying situations. So that is why I am saying that the normal life, the normal way of looking at things and to be happy is not the real happiness. You will start realizing the real happiness when you start losing the attachment to the thoughts and to the thought patterns and the way how our minds are working. When you start realizing this that you are not your mind, that you are not your thoughts and you are not your emotions. This realization with the practice, when you start when you live your normal life, practical life, when you start seeing your thought patterns and how This attachment to the thoughts or for the emotions have led you into troubles all your lives. When you start seeing it from you, there is a real happiness coming inside of you. That is by then you start letting go of these ideas and the attachments by itself. You don't have to do anything. When you start realizing how it works, then you start losing it. You start letting go of these ideas and the thought patterns. And the heaviness of this is, you will start realizing it how much heavy those things were when you start losing them. Then you feel much lighter, and that lightness is the happiness. That is the bliss that you get out of it. So that's what some people do by meditation. They just close their eyes for a few minutes and start concentrating on one thing, and when the thoughts are getting less and less, they feel also happy. But that is also okay as to start, but it is not the real thing, because there you are sometimes it's more about suppressing the thoughts. What I mean by losing the attachment is not by suppressing, it's by understanding, it's by realization. So these are two different things. But if you have a lot of thoughts, if you can't, if you have a feeling that it is too much that you can handle, that you can't take an inner look because of this too much thoughts, then you can have as for a start, you can start doing a little meditation. That's okay, but that is not the ultimate thing, because that is more something that you are doing by effort. The real happiness through spiritual practice is nothing to do with effort. It will be effortless. It's just by start realizing how everything works. This is why I'm all the time highlighting about realization. Realization is something than suppressing the thoughts. Because some people think that when they can suppress the thoughts or try to reject the thoughts or not to think, all these things, or tame the mind, or all these things, or control the thoughts or something, all these things are done with effort. When there's effort, there's also stress. So the path to real happiness is effortless. It's not about controlling anything. It's about being free, letting go. All these words that are more smoother than controlling or taming. So the real happiness is there. So I invite all of you to also to think about it and see what is the normal happiness and what I meant with spiritual happiness, or by looking inwards and losing the attachment to the thoughts and the thought patterns and how the mind works. The happiness that you can gain from that is the real happiness that will last, that you don't have to rely on anything outside, anything external. That happiness comes inside of you. Each and every one of us can tap into this happiness. That is the ultimate happiness, that we are all entitled for that, all the human beings. We just have to look inwards and try to find it inside of us. Then we are not relying on external things or outside things.